So this comes through somewhat in the movie, but just to give you a sense of perspective, when she started working on this, Barack Obama was president. They collected more than 600 hours of footage, which if you started watching it, it would take you 25 straight days to watch, just to give you a sense of how much went into making this film. So to kick things off with Lucia, what made you want to turn your attention to high school debate?
Oh, that's so easy. No, I actually, I've said this before, but for my life's work, I've studied voice and female voice and the resonance of female voice. And I've been in 3 out of 4 of my films, and I done first-person nonfiction form, and I really wanted to do a film that was more classic cinema verite, classic documentary. And I wanted to find young women, girls, when they were starting to speak up. And what is it, who speaks up, who shuts down, and why? And Lisa Barbash and I were talking about collaborating, and she said, oh, my daughter's best friend from childhood just became co-captain of the debate team of Newton South. Let's have an informational interview with her. And so we got together. Bella had just become co-captain. It was the summertime, and she said, oh, well, why don't you guys, our coach, Josh, wants to have you, maybe if you want, you can come film us. And a documentarian's dream is to have access to something that's very hard to get access to. So the doors opened, and they were very welcoming. And we went to the first meeting, we said, wow, these kids actually love to do this. They are so driven. We've never seen kids like this. And so it was like, it was actually the perfect forum in which to study girls' voices. And it's the only sport of the mind, where girls and boys compete with each other and against each other. And it's also where public high school competes against private high school. So it was actually rich with opportunity. But the initial conceit was a year in the life of this team. And after a year, we realized, oh, this is a much more complicated story than we even ever imagined. And so it became 8 years. No, it became 5 years of filming and 2 years of editing. Bless Rachel's heart.
So maybe a couple of the debaters featured could talk about seeing yourselves in high school, because at the age you're at, every year is like a decade. So now that must feel like a long time ago. How does it feel to kind of see yourself then and to reflect on that person and who you are now in relation to the topics explored in the film?
I think it's really interesting to look back on, because I think for a lot of us, we've calmed down a lot since then in a lot of ways. And life looks very different. I mean, we like to be busy and engaged, so we're all busy in different ways. But looking back to high school, I think that was definitely the peak of my intensity thus far. So it's really special to look back on, also because when they were filming, we were so immersed in debate that we weren't really thinking about being filmed. We were just so focused on the debate stuff. And now looking back at it, I'm like, oh, I don't even remember a camera being around for this. This just looks like a very organic moment. So that's very sweet to see.
Go ahead. I can go, yeah, sure. I do agree with Anika that I think I've decreased on the intensity in my life, but I think it showed me how foundational a lot of my confidence came from debate, and it allowed me to build up some self-confidence before entering college, and then transforming throughout college. It was always present and always there. And I don't think I realized that until watching the movie.
I think watching back is incredibly special, because it's a lot of nostalgia that comes back. you remember how much the team and debate meant for you in the moment. And I'm watching back and I'm thinking how much every win meant in the moment. And that felt like everything. But I think after leaving and after being out of it, you realize how much you took away from debate. You know, Josh was totally right the whole time in the sense that the research skills that we learned mattered, the way we learned to public speak mattered, our confidence mattered. And so what we leave the debate team with are these skills and these friendships that, you know, are gonna last a lifetime. But in the moment, you don't know how much there is to appreciate. You just have that win. And so I think looking back, it's these really incredible memories of, you're right, like intensity and how much we were in the moment, but I think there's so much more perspective on what to value from that.
And one of the things that film makes clear, even though it's about girls and girls' voices, it's very much not in a vacuum. There's many young men and the coach on stage. Could one of you or a couple of you just talk about your own relationship to the development of perceptual dominance and gender and what your role in that has become?
I think one of the things that I've reflected on a lot after debate and as I kind of grew up on the team is the importance of being a good person in the activities that you do and the importance of thinking about the impact you're going to have on other people as well. And I think that's a theme that you kind of see come about a lot in the documentary about the progression that people make as they become captains and as they kind of become more important to the people around them in the activity. And so I think on the topic of perceptual dominance and on the people that you kind of interact with and on my wonderful debate partner, I have no idea the impact that I actually had or the ways that like people perceived my actions, but I think that I became a lot more intentional over time in terms of trying to be more inclusive and trying to be a good person. And you know, teaching younger debaters was something that we really focused on, that it's okay to lose a round if it means that you're going to come out of it with other people thinking more highly of you, and that the converse of that is not something you want. And so I think that's at least something that I learned out of this experience.
I just want to speak to for a moment to like the team culture. When you see the emphasis we put on understanding the role of sexism in debate, how it manifests in perceptual dominance. I mean, debate is all about perceptual dominance. I was reminded of that recently judging debate, but it's a lot easier to talk about these tough subjects and to combat them when you're in a team that you genuinely believe you are trying to make sure that the team succeeds as much as you can. And you know, that can exist in any facet of life, but I felt incredibly honored to be in that environment because it's really challenging if you have to always look over your shoulder. And of course, we were competitive with each other. That, of course, exists. But the feeling of, well, I want to teach these people to be successful or to be able to combat the current stereotypes that exist because I care so much about them. I want to see them succeed. I want to see, and then, you know, at the end of the video, seeing all of our novices then teaching other novices. I mean, it's just incredibly rewarding. So I felt like in that environment, it was a lot easier to challenge these issues that exist than it has been in other environments in my life.
This film resonates with adult women as well, and thinking about the ways some of us have encountered the world, even maybe today or yesterday. Was that in your thought process, or maybe both you and Rachel, as you're putting this story together? Were you thinking about how the question of confidence resonates throughout an entire life?
That's okay. Oh, yes. I mean, and I think we all suffer from, you know, challenges, lack of confidence, situations that we don't know about. But yes, I mean, as I have explored in my work for 30 years, this idea, it's not just in debate, it's on the national stage, you know, it's in our daily life, it's in the playground, it's in the sandbox, you know. I like to say there was this kid that I ran into in my 20s, and we had played in the sandbox together, sorry. But he said, oh yeah, my mom always loves the story that when one day we were playing together, I came home and I was crying, and I said to my mom, "Mom, what's a male chauvinist pig?" Thank you again to IFFB, to Brian, to Nancy, and to my entire team, and all these amazing people that I've gotten to know and love. And thank you, Josh, so much for, I often say Josh is the producer of the film because he helped make this film happen too. He believed in it, and he also helped me get access in a way. So behind the scenes, while he was organizing everything for you guys to do debate, he was also helping us get access to debate. So I want to just give one more deep thanks to everybody who made this film possible and who's still making this film possible. So